So, welcome. And today we're going to take a journey actually out of space time and into the quantum mind. That term just came to me this morning as I was kind of rustling through everything and putting things in order and, um, yeah, illuminating on what's been coming through. So, um, quantum mind. We have access to quantum mind now. You all have been in training, and you're doing quite a great job in showing up and being acclimated because you have quantum mind. It just learning you have it, learning how to use it, and doing it, right? Okay, so we are in this spiral formation as a group. In some ways, even when we're not meeting. This is what we are. We've come together, we've made an agreement to do this. So in this spiral formation, there is this below, there's this impetus to ascend, to move into higher dimensions. We're attracted to it. We want to do it. We know we want to do it. We're excited about it when we actually feel it and it happens. And sometimes when 3D is kind of pulling us in, we just trust, don't we? We just trust. We have faith and we trust. I learned something that hope is like coming out of more ego base, and faith and trust is really in alignment with that ascension spiral. So when we're in it and we're going in and we're connecting with it and with each other, we have access to our 5 and 60 quantum crystalline frequencies. And it feels different. We recognize it, are uplifted by it, get excited about it, and kind of teeter in and out of it, right? Because it's something different. We spent all these years really going, I've got to be something and someone in 3D in order to survive and be successful. And so now, I'm really curious about what things in your life are really just saying, hey, it only makes a difference if you're on purpose about how it is now in 3D and in 4D. So, it's um uh yes, thank you. Thank you. Someone just shared. So it's not so easy to remain in this state of spiral formation when things are just pulling at us, right? Or when we have multiple tasks to do, or we have a big project that we know that we have to mind our P's and Q's and cross our T's and dots our I's just to get it all in order and to be in the flow. And that takes attention. And trust me, I know all about this. This is just, how up to this moment I've run my life. Um, this work is just lining it up just to let go of a lot of things, just to be able to now really be and practice what we're talking about here on a moment to moment basis, mini moments, shall we say. So, but when we're in 3D, 4D space time, we get that pull. And ego self mandates attention, doesn't it? And if it's not your ego self, it's your kids or your mother calling you or your workforce or whatever. It's like, hey, I need your attention. I need your attention. So, there's quite the big pull here. It's very intriguing. Okay. So, and obviously, in order to achieve ascension, we can't spend all our space time in constant meditation. It's just things aren't lined up that way. And even the ones that used to go up and reading about the yogis and they used to go up into the caves and they would just, leave their clothes and their money and their even their food behind. And they depended on people to come and feed them. But they still had to come out of it, put this in their mouth, and then go back in to achieve their space. Well, we don't have that at this moment. But we do there's a quickening that's happened here. There is a thinning of space-time that's happened here because there's been a time split. The other piece of it is that we're seeing a thickening of space-time in this in kind of a divisive world and polarized world. And polarity is a very strong component of space-time, as is gravity. And as we're observing descent, because if you have polarization, then these two factions are saying, I'm right, you're not. So we just keep delving into like how are we going to navigate through space-time and master 5 and 6D presence and embodiment. Well, let's check in on some truth, okay? There is no space-time without ascribing to 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 density and to space. There is no space without ascribing to time. That's a very interesting thing, right? So if you just touch whatever you got going here, like a desk or a chair or whatever, and it's taking up space, you're ascribing to time to say it's still here. But here's the most interesting thing. So observing anything in space as dots of time mind impulses allows you to accurately observe it. In other words, there, 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 there. And it's those theirs together that create continuity. But really, it's just a bunch of theirs. The other thing that's really interesting, and it's gonna have to do with our quantum mind, is that we actually perceive things out of time and don't realize it. And here's the experiment that they did. They flashed a red dot and then they flashed a green dot. I see the red dot, I see the green dot. Now they brought them closer together and they flashed the red dot. And there was about 4 degrees or less from the point of observation. So they flashed the green dot and very quickly, the red dot, and very quickly flashed the red dot. Green, red, green, red, green, red. Well, what people started seeing is that the red halfway would ease into the green. But the flash hadn't happened yet. Boom, boom, boo. This is where it turned green. Boom. But the flash hadn't happened yet. So this showed them there is mind behind and beyond what we put together as solidity. We're putting this all together. We're just doing it. And we all have an agreement about it. If you came over here and I said, well, that's a chair, you'd go, yeah, of course. Why are you pointing that out? I can see that it's a chair. So we're actually perceiving space as time impulses like that. I find that fascinating. But when you start to like open up and go, well, maybe then things start to make sense about how this is a little bit more illusory, meaning an illusion. So here's an interesting picture. They actually, well, first of all, you can see this has got space-time components. This is way out there, but those space-time components were making the spiral, and that spiral hadn't been there before. And I went, well, that spiral's there because now we on the planet are co-creating spirals. So I ascribed our resonance with that new discovery that's just happened. So let's just take a moment, and I want you just to put your fingers, two fingers, on, let's say whatever. It can be on your computer, it can be on your whatever surface around you. And I want you just to first go dot, dot, and say here, 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 here. And then I want you to go here, 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 here. I want you to let your mind have the possibility here. When you're doing that, you put your thoughts on pause. So the here kind of fades away. And what happens with a little practice is you go beyond the here and you start to go out this way. Your perception starts to go out. The mind stops and it goes into perceptual mode. Okay. Well, but then you say, but you told us that there was no time. Well, that's true in a way. I mean, there is dimensional time. That dimensional time that is we made up to assist us in navigation through this density modality is it's not tight and true. In other words, if you take a clock on this floor and it's an atomic clock and you measure time and then you take the exact same type of clock up 74 or 107 stories, set them at the same time, this one will be faster, that one will be slower. So time is relative, and as it moves away from gravity and as it moves in time space, it it changes. So it's not even a solid thing, but it's a perceptual mode. Okay, so we're talking about it. It's a little heady here. It's a little heady. Okay, time, space, etc. But we want to have a a possibility of understanding what we're dealing with here as we want to transcend it. So only your awareness filtered through the mind or self is so. So your mind is, or yourself is here now, and it's in perceptual mode. You could leave your body and you would still have that. You'd have perceptual mode. But our minds need to and have been trained to make up time as a measurement. However, when you transcend the mind, and sometimes it can be just that observation or going into pause, you can transcend mind, and then the self is observing for that perhaps brief moment or moments timelessness. So let's just have eyes open, eyes closed. You choose. And if your mind wanders, just say pause. Hey, now here's the thing, because I really, really encourage you to try this on throughout the day. Maybe there's one thing in your house when you look at it's your signal. Okay. So I'm looking around, I go, oh, there's my statue for Our Lady of Guadalupe. And I'm gonna make a commitment right now whenever I notice her to pause and pause the mind and pause time. Now, here's something that could help us. What I began to do as we were doing that is I went into our spiral ascent link and I started seeing you all come in one by one. As you got that moment, there it is, that timelessness. There it is. There it is. I felt almost a population of our spiral. So use that spiral when you get stuck, like close your eyes and just go, okay, yeah, I am linked and an important aspect of this spiral. And the spiral exists there, whether we meditate or not. It's just there. We have established it now in quantum timelessness, and it's there for us. So this leads us to something that we really have to take in. We really have to take in. See this picture of what's out there in space. And we know what space is because we have telescopes now. We know that there are galaxies and we know that there are distant stars and we know about the time of the universe. Guess what? You are greater than what is known. Take that in. You go, I'm going to look at all the illusion around me. Then I'm going to come back to I am greater than what is known, what is visible. So say that I am greater than what is known. It's a aha. I am greater than what is known. We would never say that because we were taught to be less than everything, to be humble. It's not a measurement, it's a what is. You are greater. You are more of the what is all than what is known. Mhm. You are vast, and your actual form, even this, is a vibrational waveform. You are vibration. You are vast. And as I say these words, take them in and expand. You are vast. And your presentation is but a waveform of consciousness. Mhm. You, as the knower, are vaster than the known. You, as the seer on the quantum, are greater than what is seen. And this is just true for anyone, well, anyone who's a healer, but anyone who's a meditator. You, the seer on the quantum, are greater than what is seen. Take that in. You, as the knower, are vaster than the known. Take a step into that. Take an expansion into that possibility. Mhm. You are a seer and a knower now. You are a seer and a knower. It's time to nod your head. Yes, 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 yes. It's time to take that little shred of doubt. Let it go. You are a seer and a knower. Don't you know? So know. Nod your head. Go, wow. So say wow, and then say, I allow. So, as a seer and knower, you're living in something which appears as space time. It's just one perception of a multiverse. It's one interesting one. So, take a moment and allow. And if you can't allow, imagine that there are innumerable other resemblances to space time right here, right now, superimposed, underimposed. And perhaps one of those relates to something that needs to be cleared for you. So let your knower and seer just expand for a moment to observe if anything needs to be observed consciously. Okay, good job. Very good. Okay. So now we're going to name this ability. We're going to call it the quantum mind. Your quantum mind is already everywhere and therefore can see, perceive, know everything. That's the dot dot. The quantum mind already perceives the green, so halfway puts them together. You are actually already perceiving what is to be as possibility today, if we want to use a time frame, because you are everywhere in that quantum mind. To get there, you have to surrender ego mind, which tends to go to the have tos and the worst possibilities. If I don't get this done, X, Y, and Z will happen. So you first have to go, okay, I'm not sure how to do this. That's okay. But I'm hearing that I have to surrender the ego mind. And then I have to go, yeah, I'm a seer and a knower. I have to agree. I acknowledge is even a better word. I have to acknowledge that. Yes. Surrender ego mind, acknowledge seer knower. And then you take a moment and you acknowledge the ego mind, saying, I know you're thinking about these things, and you nod and you go, right, I am, as quantum mind, I am infinite. And I am eternal. And I see all. I see all. I see all. And then expand beyond your time space. I am infinite. I am eternal. And I see all. And even the act of doing that clears something. It emulsifies the construct of time space control. It emulsifies it and lets some of it settle out. And perhaps if you have to make an assessment in time space, you pause and you say, I am infinite, I am eternal, I see all. And then you go with that. And there's a little bit of turning the dial because seeing and then registering what you're seeing, is the next thing, is being able to get the message and go, translating into time space. Here's what this means. And this is what I've had to train with and to in my job. It's just fortunate for me, I was steered into something I had to practice all the time. Um, and so what activity can you ascribe your quantum mind to now? Be it work or creativity or managing TTS, time space. You can be enlightened and live in time space. Yes, you can. We want to use our quantum mind to know our next expression of ascension. So I have to do this to create this. We join in, we add to it, and then in that expansion, because we're not choosing the instant fall on the ground enlightenment, as interesting as that sounds, it's too much for most born into time space beings. So we're doing it this way, and this way is by doing it step by step. Then we can pull other people along with us. Yeah. Okay. Now here's the thing. To assist in achieving this state of quantum mind, we have to start practicing non-attachment to the moment. And, I think I remember the first time someone came over to our meditation group and said, well, I'm practicing non-attachment. And I'm like, don't know what she's talking about. And we can beautifully exist in time space, and we don't have to be attached to things. And when you feel that little rumble inside, like, like you want something to go this way and someone else wants it to go that way, and you feel that, that's attachment. Or feel that sense of being left out, or not good enough, or you don't have enough, or whatever. All you really need to say is, I always have more than what I need. And the universe just provides. And I'm having a little funny story. So, beautiful eucalyptus tree. And whenever people come over, I ask one of my hawks to come and visit, put on a little show. Well, last night I had people over for a memorial from this for my second mom passed this last week. So I wanted to do a little honoring of her. Two hawks showed up and sat side by side to each other. Never seen that in my whole life. And then earlier that day, I'd said, you guys are up there all the time. Why don't you drop me a feather? So I go on my little 5D walk today, and there's a beautiful hawk feather right there on the road in front of me. And I just started laughing. I don't need it. It was a request, no attachment, and it just happened to manifest. And this is how it's going to go. This is how it's going to go. All right. So, whenever you achieve this moment of no mind, non attachment, expand presence and observe the all. And sometimes you can start to learn how to say, whatever. Like, I'm enjoying that. And it's like, I feel that little urge to go, I need it to go this way. And then I go into expanse mind, I go into quantum mind, and I'm like, really? No. And especially if you keep affirming that you have everything that you need and more. Yeah. And sometimes it means you even have to give things away because you go, the more is two more. So some of that more has to go. For those moments that you engage in non-attachment, expand to quantum mind, you are dissolving space-time. In other words, you doing your little piece of non-attachment in your home, condo, apartment, whatever outside, you do that, it dissolves space-time just a little bit. It's for the good of all because you become self, and that self is just oneness. The self is just oneness. And so let's go in right now to our gorgeous ascension spiral and practice non-attachment, expanding the quantum mind, dissolving space-time, and resolving into self. Let's just practice it. Let's see. Let's see. Um, yeah, let's help each other out. That's what I think. Okay. So close your eyes and allow your breath to guide you. And let us find our spiral. Let us let us resolve space-time and be the entire spiral, each one of us. See if you can drop into a moment or several of non-attachment. Non-attachment to what is unfolding, non-attachment to your day, your perceived day ahead. And surrender. And surrender to quantum mind. Surrender to the expansion. Infinite expansion. Perception. I am infinite. Let it all go. Love, 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 love. Quantum crystalline perception. And allow the quantum mind to expand through space and time, enlivening it, enlightening it, clarifying it, guiding it. Solving it, then dissolving it. With ease and grace. Gentle ease and grace. Infinite. Eternal. Mm. Mm. And finally, spiral, spiral. Spiral. Mm. And then beautiful beings as you. Touch base again with this information. See, perceive, and be that spiral of ascension. Even if you're just dropping in for a moment, for an aha. Sometimes you have to drop in for strength to get through something. Sometimes you have to just close your eyes and nod with the energy that we are establishing in the IC and allow it to give you that little, that little boost. The more we ascend, when there are other aspects of reality that want to pull us down, they're going to show up until we learn non-attachment. It's our training. And it can be big, trust me. It can be really big. You can be asked to let go of things you never imagined. And that which is love, 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 love will remain and be enhanced. So, gorgeous beings. Mhm. Thus, we continue our path to upleveling to quantum crystalline. You now have been initiated into your quantum mind. It does take practice. The practice begins with the pause and the nod and the yes. And the knowing that you are a seer and you are a knower. And what you are is immensely more expansive than what we all think we know. It's beyond the beyond. Beyond the beyond. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us. Namaste. Go your way. This is the way, beautiful friends. This is the way.